Rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Patty, we'll start with the roll call.
Debbie? Here. Dave?
Here.
Carolyn?
Here.
Gary?
Here.
Kevin?
Here.
Okay, the first thing on our agenda is visitors, and we do have a visitor. Josh Miller from the city is going to give us a presentation on their comprehensive plan.
Thank you, and thanks for kind of letting me come to this meeting. I know it was a little bit of a last minute discussion, but just to give you a little background, my name is Josh Miller. I'm the city planner. I've been working with the city for about 8 years, and I've been working with the town of McMillan and the Joint Planning Commission for about the same amount of time. Back in 2013, the town and the city did come to a renewed agreement for another 10 years, so that joint bonding agreement is in place until the year 2023. And we're coming to a 10-year point in our comprehensive plan. By state statute, you have to update your plan every 10 years. So our last update was in 2007, and we're in 2017 now. So we are anticipating adoption in July of 2017. So we've talked to Carolyn a little bit. We've talked to the Joint Planning Commission a little bit here and there as we were going through the process. This has taken about 2 years to update. So this is our 150 or 250 page plan. I think we've got 40-some goals and 142 goals or recommendations, programs, and policies in here. So there's a lot of information, and it's kind of overwhelming at times probably, but hopefully it helps guide Marshfield and the surrounding townships in the next 10 to 20 years. It's a 20-year plan, but it really is a 10-year plan because we're required by statute to update it every 10 years. I just wanted to kind of touch on some of the things that would probably have the most impact on the town of McMillan, and again, there's probably other things in here that might. I believe, did you send out the link, Carolyn?
I did not.
Did not? Okay. So, you guys, were you planning on it, or would you?
Well, yes, I did, and I
Okay.
simply forgot.
So, we do have it available on our city website. We've sent out a public hearing notice. Our public hearing for this plan is June 27th, so that's a couple weeks from now. At the Common Council. So we are still taking written comments on the plan. So if you see something tonight, or if you have an opportunity to go through the plan on your own time and have some comments, I know Carolyn's got my email address and phone number. Feel free to call, feel free to email. We've gone to every other township that abuts Marshfield and did a similar presentation. We've also presented at the county last week, both Marathon and Wood County, and we ultimately have to get a consent from the board to look beyond the city limits. And so we're doing some planning beyond the city limits just from a standpoint of we've been landlocked in certain areas, and we want to be able to plan for future growth. Now, in all honesty, Marshfield does not have a projected population boom coming anytime soon. According to the Department of Administration, our population by 2040 is expected to decline. And so we hope that's not the case, but we don't envision like this rapid growth. We're not showing that in our plan, but we do want to identify areas where we could grow so we don't get landlocked and the city eventually kind of gets swallowed up by rural development surrounding the city. So just to go over these maps a little bit, and I think does everybody get a copy? So just these are the land use maps, and those are kind of the more critical maps in the plan. These are, and I guess I've got a couple extra copies of some of them.
Patty, did you get one?
I don't believe so.
Maybe you're
Just got your letter. Thanks.
And then if there's a couple extra copies, I'm not sure how many people would be here. So the first map is just really a future growth areas map. And when the city is looking at growing, our biggest concern is going to be whether or not we can provide services to that. And so by services, I mean sewer, water, electric, and tie it into the storm sewer system. So really the areas in tan are really the areas that we can provide services without any major infrastructure improvements. Really looking at the sanitary sewer. You know, if we have to provide a lift station, that costs a lot of money to serve an area. And these areas are areas we've identified that could be served without significant infrastructure costs. The tan areas, the kind of the, I don't know what to call it, purple, for lack of a better term to call it. That's really the rural developed areas. So those are areas kind of abutting the city that have developed in kind of a low density, a medium density type development that kind of eventually landlocks the city. So if you look at the town of Lincoln to the west, the town of Cameron to the south, and then the town of McMillan to the north, and even to the town of Marshfield to the east, there are little pockets of rural development subdivisions that have taken place that are ultimately, if that pattern were to continue around the city of Marshfield, the city wouldn't be able to grow anymore. And so those are the areas that we looked at and said, okay, how do we allow for Marshfield to grow? And so that's something that I'll get to in just a minute here. But this map also identifies vacant areas and agricultural areas that we would like to infill. So really to be a sustainable community, we want to be able to develop at higher densities, to develop the areas that are already served by road, sewer, and water. I mean, it just makes sense to try to utilize what we have because it costs a significant amount to be able to extend that infrastructure beyond where it currently is. And so the second map, map 9.6, is what's called an extraterritorial plat areas map. Now by statute, the city is required or has an opportunity to review any subdivision or plat that is within a 3-mile radius of the city limits. And so that purple boundary that you see on the map is a 3-mile radius boundary. So any plat that the county gets, whether it's Marathon or Wood, they send it to us for review and comment. The areas in the tan and in the blue, those are our joint boundary areas. And so within those areas, we have special provisions that allow the Joint Plan Commission to review. So there's 3 members from the town of McMillan, 3 members from the city of Marshfield. Those areas are reviewed by the Joint Plan Commission. So that's why those are separated out. And the 1-mile plat review area, or the 1-mile boundary area, that's currently identified in our comp plan that says this is an area that we want to kind of protect a little bit because that's a more immediate area where the city of Marshfield could grow. And so we identified that area and then looked at where we foresee, based on the future growth areas, where we foresee Marshfield could grow. Again, in the next 10 to 20 years, we don't envision probably getting properties to annex inside the city a whole lot. It could happen. We've had annexations in the town of Cameron and the town of Marshfield in the last few years. We did have a couple just on Highway 97, and then one just off of McMillan in the last 8 years. Those are the only 2 that have been annexed. So we don't envision a ton of that taking place. There's still plenty of room to develop within the city limits, but and this green area is what's called the extraterritorial areas. And so in the comprehensive plan, we basically identify these areas as areas that, if subdivisions are to take place, we want to review them a little more scrutiny, and we want to make sure that the development pattern is appropriate for either attaching at some point or developing rural enough where you could infill. You could have additional properties, like we call it ghost platting. So, like if you have a subdivision and eventually, if the subdivision's septics fail, we've had a few inquiries on that. People want to attach to the city. Well, if it's a low density subdivision, they can't afford to attach to the city. You can't provide services to it. We can't provide services. We can't afford to provide services, and the property owners can't. So we want to make sure that those are at least a reasonable density or spaced out enough where you could add density at a later time. So if it were to be annexed and they did need services, we could provide that. And then the third map is yeah, it's a topical map. I admit I chose the colors, so if you don't like it, I can be blamed on that. But it was based on our current comprehensive plan. Not a whole lot, not not a lot has changed from the current plan, but the area to the north is really where we have our joint boundary agreement, which includes a joint comprehensive plan. The couple areas of note that I want to note where there's been changes is the intersection of AAA or what's the name, Galvin, and 97. Just the northeast corner of that is, we show that as commercial. On our joint plan commission, or joint boundary agreement, we show that as rural residential, I believe. So we felt like if that were to become part of the city at some point, because of how busy that intersection is, I don't foresee that being rural housing. To me, it would make more sense that that would be commercial. I think, is that where there's a bar there or something right now, or a hole? Is there something there? There's nothing in that intersection?
No, that bar.
That's the next mile.
Oh, that's another bar.
Yeah, you got
Okay.
another road to go to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, right now, and in the foreseeable future, could be rural residential, or could be vacant, or whatever it is. But in the long range future, I would imagine that that could be commercial. And then there's just the areas along County Highway E and East, we show that as new neighborhood mixed use, which really allows different types of development densities in our comp plan. So until those areas are really annexed, we aren't really too worried about if they are annexed. Again, I don't know that they would be anytime soon, but these are really hard land use categories for if it becomes within the city. So. Yeah, and so Prairie Round's included in new neighborhood mixed use, so if they do their phase 2 ever at some point down the road, again, there's still plenty of room to build out as we currently are, but if they were to develop further north and west, that falls within that same kind of new neighborhood mixed use. And then just commercial on 97 as you would expect, and then the Radetzky's, that is, even though it's kind of more manufacturing, we identified that as commercial in our comprehensive plan, just because if it were to ever rezone, that would be what we would envision it to be at some point. That doesn't mean it has to become commercial, or that this isn't a zoning map. It's just a future land use map as rezonings take place. And then the last map that I have is called a future development staging plan, and this was just something that we identified areas where we felt services could be readily available. So like stage 1 is really an area where we have basically the utilities necessary and the roads and infrastructure necessary to serve it. Maybe there might be a stub of a road or a water or a sanitary service that still needs to be extended, but for the most part, it is readily served and could be served to develop. And so that's stage 1, and most of those are within the city limits, I believe, and or right next to the city limits. Stage 2 would be development that would only occur in lieu of stage 1 developing, or an annexation, or utilities and infrastructure being expanded to it. So it's not ripe for development just yet, but it could be if the right events happen. I think we have like a 5 to 10 year timeline on stage 2, but in reality it's probably more than that, given the lack of development pressure that we have. And then stage 3, that just kind of conforms to our future land use boundary. It's probably something that won't develop in the next 10 to 20 years, and probably won't annex in that time, but we wanted to at least identify it for planning purposes. It's a long-range plan. We want to be responsible to do that. If you're curious, that orange boundary that's on that map is the sewer service area boundary. If we are to change that boundary, the town of McMillan would actually be involved in that process. It's a sewer service area plan that has to be reviewed by the DNR, and then there's 1 member from each adjacent townships that are within that area, as well as 5 members from the city. So if that ever does get updated, and should be updated probably in the next 3 to 5 years, the town of McMillan will be included in that process. So that will really dictate where the city can grow, because if there's no sanitary service to it, there's really no point in us having it annexed. So there are some areas along Highway E that are within that sanitary sewer service area and along 97, but not much west of there at all. So, but yeah. So overall, it's been a good process, and we've got to go back to the county boards yet this week, and then next week I'll be in Wood County. But we've had an extensive public participation process. This would be part of that process. We've sent out surveys. We've had almost 800 people, about 800 people involved in some level of participation, whether they took a survey, whether they attended one of our forums or open house. So we've had a lot of people aware of this process and at least participate on some level. But you'd always wish there could be more. There's almost 20,000 people. We have less than 5% participation rate. It doesn't sound like a lot, but 800 people sounds like a lot, so we'll stick with that number. But again, just kind of here to kind of introduce the plan, give you guys a little heads up. There's 9 elements, 10 chapters. We are required by statute to have each of those 9 elements, which includes housing, agricultural, natural resources, economic development, intergovernmental cooperation, and so on. So there's a lot of things that you guys have in your plan that we have the same requirements. And so the intergovernmental cooperation, if there are other avenues, I know we've looked at, talked about services, talked about, transportation planning, working together with the township on those things. I mean, that's what we want to do. We want to be able to see if we can work together, look for opportunities. Providing services to residents isn't getting cheaper, and so the only way to do that probably is to look at cooperating. And we've got a great relationship with the town of McMillan, and really appreciate that, and look to continue that. And but if there's other ways beyond the cooperative boundary plan, I mean, I think the staff is always willing to listen and willing to look at working with the common council, and if it works out and it's cost effective, we'd certainly be willing to entertain how do we make those efforts happen. So with that, I'd be happy to address any questions, and I'd be happy to follow up with any emails if there are any.
And I will forward that link. I'm sorry, I meant to go back to it and didn't do it, so. The link for the book.
And if anybody wants to be placed on our mailing list, I've got hundreds of people on our mailing list that we send out emails regularly. I don't know if you were on that. Did you get some emails on the comp plan?
I believe we did, yes.
Okay. We were happy to continue to update that list and make sure as many people are in the know as can be, because we want this to be a transparent process, and want the people involved, because it's only a good plan if the people help develop it.
Mm-hmm. Anybody got any questions about it?
I guess that the sewer service area one, the last one we looked at, we had originally, if I remember seriously correct, a number of years ago, that extended farther out into, we did some exchange, correct? And we brought that sewer service area in exchange for some other, didn't we?
Yeah, typically.
Cooperative boundaries.
Yeah, how that typically works, and I think we try to align it with the no contest area of the joint boundary agreement. Typically how that works is if you are going to add areas in one part, you have to subtract areas in another part. You can't just keep growing. And it's all dictated based on a wastewater treatment plant size or capacity. So if we were to amend it, we would either have to sink it. I mean, there might be areas of McMillan that we feel like, okay, that's not going to develop. We would lose it there and then add it to an area that we would have growth pressure there. So.
And I think that used to be extended way to the east of McMillan Street, correct?
It could. I don't know about the old boundary, but it certainly could have.
We brought that back in.
Okay. Thank you very much,
Thank
John.
you for your time.
Appreciate it. And the hearing is the 27th.
Chair.
Right. And what time is the Josh? What time is the?
Oh. The public hearing is 7 o'clock at the Common Council.
7. Okay.
Yeah, on June 27th.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Comments from the audience. Oh, we have a what?
Another visitor?
Yeah.
Oh, he's hiding
Yeah,
back
come on.
there. I didn't see him around the corner.
Put you on the spot. Didn't know he was coming. Deal with construction. part of the process of the getting quotes, estimate, et cetera, on the building for the roofing and everything else. Looks like he's here to talk a little bit as far as options we may or may not have that we need to probably discuss at a later time. But we should be able to do that now.
Need a visitor, step up to the plate.
But you have to give us all your info.
All my info.
Yeah,
All right.
starting with your name.
My name is Mitch Westland. I live down on the end of Fox. Right now.
Oh, okay.
So, caught me off guard here.
Yeah.
Brought some samples here. If you're going with the asphalt, I brought samples of the Stormmaster. It's an Atlas shingle. Got a 20-year non-prorated. It's SBS shingle. Basically breaks down to it's a rubberized material. The reason why I like to use rubberized material versus the standard asphalt shingle, in Wisconsin we get those 30 degrees at night, 70 degrees during the day. That expansion and contraction is what makes some shingles just fly off, whatnot. A little bit more, it's got Scotchgard 3M. Everybody knows what Scotchgard is, pretty huge. See a lot of roofs out there, you got the black rain lines, the moss, the mildew, all that nasty. This prevents that. This shingle with that rubberized material is all the way up to the cap. You can take it, bend the panel, and it will not break, as you can see. And, I don't know.
What's the price difference between that and an asphalt shingle?
That's the good thing. Asphalt shingles right now, some of the big names like Certainty,
Mm-hmm.
you're looking at about $100 a square.
Mm-hmm.
This is twice the shingle, but they don't have the huge name.
Mm-hmm.
And go on and on about the quality of this shingle versus another shingle competitor. They don't have a huge name, so you can get it for almost the same price, around that $100 a square for material wise. Install for me, they're going right around this area, it's $250 to $300 a square install. It's tear off, cover synthetic felt. It's got a 10-inch starter, which is nice. I guess that's where I'm at. I didn't get a chance to measure this up yet.
I think it's roughly 28 by 60.
Okay.
I'll get a hold of you.
Yeah, certainly. I brought some more information right here. Whoever wants to take a look at it, a little bit of background on it. It's a phenomenal shingle if you are going with an asphalt. I do a steel shingle as well, Aeroline. Steel, as everybody knows, about double the price. So if you were going with a steel application on a shingle, you'd be looking at about $600 a square installed. So double the price. I wouldn't suggest like pole barn rib steel with the screws and everything. Everybody knows there's no shade here. It's expansion and contraction. They finally did away with the nails. They went to a screw with the rubber washer. As it's moving, it's basically making that hole bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Standing seam's a nice roof. Pound it down. It's a nice steel roof. But if you are going with an asphalt, I strongly believe with this application, it's above and beyond any other asphalt that you can get for what you're getting. Your bang for your buck. Like I said, it's a 20-year non-prorated shingle. And they can do that because that copper content in it, they have average asphalt shingle for the longevity and that mold and mildew, all that, make the shingle last. That copper flakes in it. Average asphalt's at like 4 to 5%. This, they can warranty you that because they have a 15% and greater copper content. They actually have something that comes to the factory, they'll grab so much of it, test it. If it's not, they'll shut the plant down. So for them to put warranties and stuff like that on, it has to be
But it's a 20-year.
20-year non-prorated.
Okay.
So, which, there's no other asphalt out there that'll do that, so. And then everybody's doing away with the tar paper, it's all synthetic felt now. Huge asset.
Mhm. How long have you been doing that?
Shingles and stuff, everything.
That shingle?
This shingle, about a year now.
And so far, no problems?
No problems. So, I do know for doing roofing for like 15 years
Mm-hmm.
that somebody asked me for an asphalt estimate. This is the only one that I'm gonna present it to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like going back. I don't like fixing stuff. I don't like people calling me and complaining.
Maybe Patty, you can get your roof fixed. I'm good.
So, any other questions for me? I mean, we could talk more, any more info. It's phenomenal shingle. There's everything in that pamphlet, so you have any more questions. But I strongly believe if you are going with an asphalt, you're getting twice the shingle for the
Mm-hmm.
same price.
Okay.
Anything else, you put a CBC in there or something like that, 5 years down the road in this heat, it's not gonna be this, you're not gonna have a problem. So, unless you wanna go to a steel rail, and that's a whole other ball. I do know you're missing quite a few shingles up there. Same thing with the roof deck, meaning your sheeting is not chopped. That, you usually have to go by time and material.
Mm-hmm.
You wait too long, it starts turning to crumbs, and then it's just gonna cost you more. And more. So. Good.
Thank you.
I'll leave these here with you. Thank you for your time. You can call if you have any questions. Thank you.
Mhm, thank you. Yes, Paul?
I was not here for the May 8th meeting, and I see in the minutes for the approve and disapprove, which it eventually was disapproved for a study on St. Joe's for traffic. I was just wondering if you're gonna do anything with man at the same time, if you go with anything.
We're not.
Well, if this comes up again and we do a future study.
Oh. Yeah, well, the study was for speed limit. And,
Yeah,
You know, that's mainly what it was for the St. Joseph thing.
Well,
So,
and that's my concern, that's why I'm
well,
here.
yeah,
That's why I'm
and,
here
well,
tonight.
it's supposed to be the same on Man as it is on St. Joe's, right?
Yes.
It's supposed to be.
But going along with that, St. Joe's is pretty protected if you think, or if you look at these pictures I took. Did these last Thursday. They at least have the proper signage on both ends. You don't need it on the north end, and I'll tell you why. I took pictures starting at the vet service and headed west. All that's at the vet service is 45 miles an hour. There's no information as to parking everywhere else. There's no parking anytime. There's no deer crossing signs, warning. There's no truck weight limit. You get to St. Joe's, however, on Man, as you're heading west, you get just past the intersection of St. Joe's, and you have a 45-mile speed limit, no parking anytime, and weight limit 16 tons. Then, down on Lincoln and Man, if you headed south on Lincoln, it's got a no trucks sign with printing, not like the symbol up on Elm and E. Then if you're coming west, or from the west going east on Man, you've got 45 speed limit, no parking anytime, and then McMillan Township, but no truck weight limits. Then you get to Man and St. Joe's, just past the intersection heading east. You got 45-mile-an-hour speed limit, no parking anytime, which you can almost read. If you come from the north, or from the south heading north at McMillan and St. Joe's, on St. Joe's, you've got speed limit 45, weight limit 16, and town of McMillan, or McMillan Township, but you don't have no parking anytime. Then, as you were at the intersection of St. Joe's and Man, if you're looking south, just past the intersection heading south, there's a sign that says speed limit 45, weight limit 16 tons. My question is, why would you put those there? I said earlier, you don't need a weight limit there because the truck's already made it that far.
What was the last one you said?
At St. Joe's and Man, you're standing on Man intersection, you're looking south. It's right at the just past the intersection. And I mean just past, because you can see the radius of the road here. But it's 45 speed limit, 16 ton weight limit. That's all that's there. There's no parking anytime. And this is what passed me when we were taking pictures. That's the reason I'm here, is because there's so much more truck traffic on that road right now. Plus, the speed is just unbelievable. The other morning I was out tending my garden, about 6:30, and there were two vehicles. I can picture what they looked like. The pickup truck had been going about 65, and a little car behind him, I could hear him coming, he had been going about 75. All they could do is slow down and turn on St. Joe's. I don't know where they went, but 4 minutes later, they were back going the other way, not quite as fast. So I want to know if anything's going to happen. I'm just saying, one thing I'm going to say is that to get the trucks off of there, maybe, is to take these two worthless weight limit signs at St. Joe's and Man, take them off the posts and put them on the ends where they belong on Man. One at E and one at Lincoln. They're on the posts, they're just sitting there, not doing anything.
Because they shouldn't be that far anyway, correct? Is that what you're saying?
Before they enter the.
No, there's,
The trucks are already committed.
the truck's committed, they already got to the center of that stretch.
Yeah, so it should be on the.
They should be
before
on
you
the
go
end.
into Spencer or out on the E.
But in defense of those two
East and
signs,
west.
in defense of those two signs, I took a survey when I was on the highway committee, and I dated it April 14th of 2012. There were signs on both ends stating 16 tons. We used to have a deer crossing sign on the west end, but somebody liked the picture of the deer, so they took that. And there are other things that are gone, but to replace those signs that are not there now, just take the two that are in the middle of that stretch that have no reason to be there, put one on the west end and one on the east end. At least let those people know that they're not supposed to be on the road. It's not just Menards traffic, although their delivery trucks have been putting quite a bit of load on the ones with the clams with the lifts that they can, and coming that way. All it takes is a phone call. I did it one time. They had a Menards semi come from Eau Claire with lumber on it. I called the store, talked to the day manager, and shoot her ass. And I didn't see anybody anywhere. She said she doesn't have any authority to tell the truck drivers where to drive. And I said, well then, call your office up in Eau Claire and tell them to kindly take truck routes and not shortcuts. So that's all the griping I have today.
Okay, good. Did you write down all those places? Okay, okay.
Cars, yeah.
All right, thanks, Paul. Any other comments? Okay, well, let's move to approval of minutes, town board meeting, May 8th, 2017.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for May 8th, 2017.
I'll second that.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded to approve the town board meetings of May 8th, 2017. Is there any discussion? Corrections? Additions, deletions?
Gary's job is corrections.
Okay. He's not saying anything, so
We're good.
so we're good. We'll take a vote.
Aye. Dave?
Aye.
Carolyn?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Okay, next thing is the special town board meeting of May 31st, 2017.
Make a motion to approve the May 31st minutes for 2017.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve the special town board meeting of May 31st, 2017. Is there any discussion on this one?
Did we receive payment from Jeff Hill yet?
No, I just have checked on that and it hasn't come, so I've already got it written great big across the top of my paper.
The next pay hasn't come yet?
Next day, no, it didn't come yet, I guess, so, yeah. So I will call him first thing in the morning. Okay. Any other discussion about this, the minutes? Otherwise, we'll take a vote.
Debbie? Aye. Dave?
Aye.
Carolyn?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Okay, reports, plan commission. Nobody here from plan commission. Fire department, Rod Power.
Since your last board meeting, we had 8 EMS calls, and under fire calls, we had 1 power line down. The training for this month in June will be hose testing. With the new people that we have, normally we'll spend 1 day of our training, or 1 evening of our training, and we'll go through do hose testing. It usually takes us about a week to 2 weeks to do all of our hose. Because we only do so much hose, some of it gets wet, some we have to dry it, so we have breaks in service, we have that stuff, so. Also, we have 7 members that are attaining the state certified aerial operator. That class is being held in Red Mountain. It's a continuation basically of the driver operator pumper. And we do have 2 of our individuals that have fully completed and got certified in the driver operator pumper. The rest of them are still working on it. Because there is a written test and a practical test that have to be done. And not everybody was able to make all the test dates, so they're working their way through that. We've also made the purchase of the new thermal imager. I was able to go down to FDIC this last spring, and I was able to talk with Darley, and I got us a very good price, as you can see on our budget deal. It's a very good price on that thermal imager. Also within that time frame, they also came up with a deal that if you trade in your old unit, you also got another unit. It is not quite as good as the first unit that we purchased, but it is up-to-date in technology and everything else. One of the things that the unit that they're giving us for the trade-in is not able to take a picture of what they see. The one that we purchased, you're able to take a picture so that we can download it later and put it with all of the files. So if an insurance company asks, why did we tear that wall apart, we can show them the heat signature of why we did it. And we're still waiting for that because we had to mail, like I said, we had to mail in our old one. And then once they receive it, then they send us the new one. And we have the new one that we purchased, the 55 in service. We did receive our grant money, $1,000 from Enbridge Pipelines to cover our meters. The ladder, which you probably are going to discuss later, is back in service. The all steer is working. Everything there is up to snuff 100%. That ended up having to go, as we discussed earlier, down to Red Power because they are basically Pierce's factory warranty, if you will. Everybody else works on fire engines, but that is the Pierce manufacturer. And that all steer is basically one of the things that Pierce is an exclusive type of deal. Under the EMS, we are right now upgraded. It started in June 1st to the EMT level. Within that deal, keep in mind that all of our first responders are also able to also work underneath that. They are working at their level of EMR level and not the EMT level, but they're as counted as the crew. The skills that we picked up with that, along with that upgrade, was the traction splint, as if you break your upper femur. You're able to put traction on that and take away quite a bit of the pain, and also keep damage away while you're in transport. And also glucagon, which is a derivative, I believe, of pig
Yeah.
liver, right?
No, it's your,
Insulin. It's an insulin, but it comes from.
yeah, it's yours.
And we're able to administer that now. And basically, if you're able to swallow things, we can give you sugar. But if you're not able to swallow things, then we give you glucagon.
How many are certified for that?
I think we have like 6 EMTs right now. Like 3 first responders. We're also working, trying to get our numbers up on that also. It's more of our members to be the EMT level. We're working with the Safer Fire District to try to get a course through the summer. Quite a few of them wanted to try to get it over through the summer before they go back to school and work and other things. So they had more time. Whether that pans out, I don't know yet. NTC and Midstate both turned us down. They said they're out of money for classes this year. So. Then the last thing on the bottom, we're still looking for volunteers. If anybody wants to volunteer for around Fall Fest, just give me or Lori or Adam a call. We'll work in someplace.
Okay.
Questions?
Yeah, I have a question. With these upgrades for EMS, I think it is, is this all part of that report that you and Lori had submitted, what was it, a year and a half ago?
Yes.
And that was declined at that time,
What was declined?
the upgrade?
No. It wasn't declined, it was just that, they were to bring it back and report to us after, how did that go? Because there's no charge, and it's just they're going to classes.
But we're paying for them going to classes. Am I correct?
Yes, and and that was, it took 2 years, and they finally, the state approved, us having.
And we've
the
been
EMT.
reporting right along at each phase of the step.
Mhm.
We've been reporting right along.
Mhm. But I don't think that was what we had talked about at the annual meeting. Because that report was submitted, I believe, and that was discussed then. Larry, you were there. Do you remember that? That was for the upgrades and everything, when you guys wanted the ambulance and putting 2 full-time people on, I believe, wasn't it? This is all part of that, am I correct?
No.
No. No,
This
No, this is
This
just-
EMT upgrade, no transport.
This
no
is a
transport.
non-transport.
Mhm.
Dave just said transport, no, non-transport, right, Dave?
Yes,
EMT, non-transport.
Correct.
Because I know I was at the meeting and it was, the board decided not to go along with
no,
this.
no, we're not doing the transport, no. It's just that they're just
No.
going,
About the upgrading, because this was going to start costing more and more.
no,
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be, they were gonna check into it and everything was
Let
pretty
you know
much on
what the
hold.
cost was.
But we've been paying for classes right along, that I know,
right.
so.
Yeah, because if I remember right, the cost of this startup was gonna be 40 grand or whatever.
Mhm.
That was if, that was underneath the, if we ended up doing a transport, which we did not do.
Yeah.
But what are we upgrading to all of the time? I mean, it's.
It's just that their skill level, that's all it is, you know, like checking for their blood.
Yeah, I understand
That.
what that all understand. What is this costing the township for all these little upgrades?
It was a one-shot deal to get, just to have them be able to upgrade to EMTs.
Okay, because I thought we had paid for a couple classes when there was
Well,
that.
we have paid for some of their classes to go to, go
But
to
that's all
the
part of
EMT.
this, that's what I'm saying.
But-
Some
there's-
of our individuals already hold the EMT when they come to
Yeah.
the fire department. So we've not, I believe we paid for one individual to go to class. Yeah, some of the other ones have been picked up by the school district in Marshfield because they're high school students.
Well, what classes did we pay for in December, I think it was? There were two of them. Or two people that went to class, and I think it was like $400 a piece.
What did Bill Gillespie do? Was
It
it,
is EMT.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Or did I?
Lori and Kim down in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
That would be their conference, which we did conferences at the first responder level, we'd be doing conferences.
Okay. So that wasn't a class, it was a conference.
Correct. I mean, there's classes involved with it. They have day classes or like a 4-hour class within the conference,
Mm-hmm.
but that's what it is.
Okay.
You go to the, you sign up for the conference and then you get to sign up for classes that are in
Yeah.
that conference.
Okay. Well, then I'll have more questions later.
yeah, it's the EMT update was just that, Lori had to go through all of this stuff, and it took them 2 years to get through it all, just to say that we have the ability to have EMTs.
Mm-hmm.
And we never, ever discussed having an ambulance, so, and that's not gonna happen.
We did.
Well, but it just was
What the
not
board has
happening.
approved in the past was basic first responders. That's what we were at. The board, I don't believe, has ever approved upgrading beyond that,
I don't think so either.
not since I've been on here.
I don't,
But I got a question for you, so now, I mean, these traction splints, is that something that you gotta buy now to have them, or did we have them before, and along with the
They were,
Glucagon?
the glucagon we have and the traction splints we have. I cannot tell you exactly how much the traction splints were, but the traction splints were going to be added, whether we went to the EMT level or not, because they are available for the EMRs. So it would have been an upgrade that we're doing through the EMRs also. It just was, we said we went to the EMT, we did not submit to the state for the EMR level to come up. We put it all into one.
So now, are they gonna try and get that drug for the druggies now to bring them around? I see they're trying to pass it. so-
We already have Narcan.
They already have it. They've had that for a while already.
Well, I think the other factor that is leading into this is the Spirit leaving town. That leaves Marshfield, who we contract with, shorthanded. An example of that was a rear-end collision over in 97 that stopped for a school bus. The good news is, and I can only talk from that example, the good news is that no one was seriously hurt, because at that point in time, and I mentioned it last month, Marshall was tied up with a basement fire. Their barn was empty. Does that leave us more vulnerable? Yeah. So if we do have some people that are trained, in case we would have needed them, that is the reason for the upgrade.
Well, that can't be the reason for
It's-
the upgrade because the Spirit is
Stratford's
left.
available.
Yeah, and we do have Stratford when they're available. They didn't have anybody at the time either, from my understanding.
That's
But as
correct.
far as the Spirit leaving, that shouldn't have anything to do with this because they just made that choice, correct? That-
yeah, that isn't why you're
Yeah.
doing it, they're just doing it to increase their ability to give better care. And that's what it is, and it never was any plan to have, I mean,
Place or
and you can dream that maybe somewhere
Well,
20
that
years
was
down the
report.
road.
That was the report that she had was $40-some thousand to put two people on.
If they did that.
I believe that the part here that's being confused a little bit is, there was a while back a grant that was applied for. This is not, the EMT upgrade is not part of a grant.
Mhm.
That, the $47,000, that was a grant that you're talking about?
No,
Yeah,
Yes.
to pay people to be on call.
Right.
And that there were
no, there
no,
were only two people that could possibly be on call, and that was you and Lori at that point.
Why would that be? We had more EMTs than that.
Well, that's what you told us, was you and Lori were the only ones qualified.
Because your
No.
responding time was She sat here and told us how fast she can make it from home to there for responding time. I
That was
remember
at the annual meeting, I know it was.
Yeah.
Well, we'll go back and check what it, actually, you need Lori here, so we know
Sure.
exactly what we're talking about.
So at the level of training they're at now, I would assume that Stratford's ambulance has to leave with 2 people. In a situation that if we, through the mutual aid, if we had people trained at that level, could they roll with just the driver and get here, and then our people could also
Not right,
in with them?
not right now, and the reason that is our people can help them because we have, because we can call in for mutual aid, so our people can help them, assist them, do our stuff. But we're not a transporting agency, and we're not, right now, the only 2 that are with Stratford that are cross-credentialed, state license-wise, is me and Lori. We can cross-credential more people if they wish to, but that's up to them, it's their license. And if they wish to show up to their training and do, because there's obligations that they have to do with Stratford, then if they cross-credential.
Otherwise, we'd be in a liability situation, correct?
Correct.
So they couldn't,
They can't be considered part of Stratford's legal crew.
Correct.
I guess is the best way to word it.
But with the mutual aid, you all
Correct.
descend on the
Correct.
scene
You
and
take-
work together.
Correct.
Yes. Yes,
And don't you think that there will be, it probably won't be Spirit, but there will be a helicopter service eventually back here in Marshfield? Be foolish not to think there wouldn't be.
From my understanding, because my cousin worked on it, a lot of the problem with the helicopter, and it had to do with the flight and the level of trauma that they were at. And you may know also that they had to go to the closest spot.
Yeah.
So that's why some of these satellites were popping up, and as long as the helicopter touched the ground, then it could just be a referral to head to Marshfield or anywhere else. So I think the actual
We had the
airspace
status
restrictions.
as a trauma center here, we've lost that right now, but I am sure it'll be back in the future.
I'm not sure.
And
Where
it's
we're
not
I mean,
just,
the big contract is delayed again.
for us here also though, it's not just the helicopter leaving, it's also the ground units.
Right.
And the influx in that, but like I say, it's not really the reason for the upgrade is to get better care to our
Is
patients.
better care for our people that when we go respond. Yeah. Okay, any other questions? Okay, our reports, oh no, here, library Ruth is not here. Joe, do you have anything you want to talk to us about? Addresses?
Oh,
I did,
I can, I'm always ready to talk about addresses. As far as I know, I mean, everything's been approved now, and it's in the phase. If you go to the website, they got a color diagram of how the steps are progressing, and by August, they will have finalized everything with the county, with the naming, and at that point, they'll be in that time frame, they're also getting ready to get the bids out for doing name changes. I meant to ask somebody, and I didn't get a chance to yet. So driving around up in town of Johnson, town of Reed Brock, town of Steen, it looks to me like some of those townships have started changing names on their roads. And I don't know if, I gotta talk to some of the people from those towns and see if they are doing that to try to get ahead of the process. I don't know how they can, because the addresses will be all screwed up yet. But I know there was one road that changed name, and it's got the new name on it. Maybe the sign got lost or something, and rather than buy a new sign with the old name, they put the new name on it. I'm not sure. I did see that, and the signs are bigger on the street signs, are bigger than what ours are, and what most of the other ones in the county are. So I gotta check on that, but, it's just in that process now where the county's working on it, and everything should be rolling along according to their plan, their schedule.
So
Well,
what's the timeframe then? What are we looking at for changing next year?
The addresses should change next year.
Okay.
They should start putting names out next spring,
Mhm.
and they expect that to be done by October, when the
Okay.
signs up.
Yeah, I called Preston because we had
Yeah.
heard that they were gonna start with some of them this fall, and he said absolutely not, not until spring. And I don't think that they know yet what we're gonna have to pay for.
No, because they haven't put out any bids yet.
Yeah.
That's part of the process.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
That, I believe it's this month now. I don't think it was last month. I think it's this month. The county board should be finalizing the, everything so far has been proposed names, even though the CPZ has said this is what it's gonna be. They still had to get that approval from the county board. And I think that the process that they had to go through was first gonna happen this month. And then once that's done, then they can put out the request for bids for doing the work.
I asked him how many signs we're gonna have to have changed, and he said 850.
In our town,
Yes,
I mean,
that's what Preston said.
Yeah,
you talking about address?
I don't know,
Plus the address of the
yes,
street.
Well, I don't know.
850 is what it comes up to, so.
I think
So
it would
then
be-
does that-
Yeah, it would have to be that many. That's-
Mhm.
It's everybody on our address list.
Right, right,
Everybody's address is changing.
yeah, it's
That's
800.
all we
I just have mine memorized.
Yeah.
I got started another 60 years ago.
So is that
Oh.
lawsuit from over there, or?
I have no
Did
idea
you
what
file,
happened.
or?
I have no idea what happened. The only thing I saw that was kind of weird, if you go to the county website and look at the submitted list of names, and they got all the townships listed with the names of the streets, they got the old name, the new name, the township. There was one other thing, and I can't remember what it was. But there's a whole bunch of names that don't have any townships on them. And I'm sure that almost all of them are Rib Mountain. So somehow or another, they didn't include the Rib Mountain names, but the street names have been changed. And whether Rib Mountain changed them or whether the county changed them, I don't know, but that was just something because there's no place in there does it say Rib Mountain, and any town names that got changed.
I haven't been on it lately.
Well, that's the one that filed the lawsuit, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they lost.
And see, that was
lost
the
first
that
one,
was
but
the
there's
process.
second one, right?
The process was that they came to us and said, what do you want your streets named? And we submitted them, and all the townships submitted theirs. And the process was that if by the deadline you didn't submit any names, then the CPZ was gonna
Do it.
give you a name. They're gonna call you a name, yeah.
Mhm.
So are we gonna have an idea what to budget for by fall?
Not until, by fall we should, yeah, because that's supposed to be, it's in that end of July, August timeframe where they're getting these bids and hiring a contractor,
Mhm.
sometime in that timeframe. And hopefully they'll have something with the county board then as to whether or not they're gonna pay more than the $20,
Right,
hopefully.
that's where it's going.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, pretty extemporaneous here. Yeah. Okay, Dave.
Highway, we got some, we did do the inspection of the town roads, and they're kind of come with some recommendations to get some numbers together for bids to go out for some of these roads. Pat has been out busy patching, chip seal, what he can do there. We did some repairs, quite a bit of repairs on the mower. He's repaired road signs that have been blown down or whatever. And I guess been doing some ditch cutting and clipping.
Okay.
So, yeah, I was gonna bring that up. That mower, is that the same stuff they fixed last year on it,
No, that's.
or something different?
Hydraulic motor, this was the mechanical part of it. A new one is 12,000, that might be something to consider in the budget too. It's been around a lot of years, and that does a lot of cutting. There's 4,000 or 5,000 on that tractor right now, so.
Okay. Gary, you have anything to talk about?
Well, just the newsletter I'd like to get out at the beginning of November, so, or November, August, so I can include the thing for the picnic. So, you know, it's the end of July, I'd like to have everything ready to go. And on the town hall, we have talked to some people and getting some estimates on the roof. One guy tells us to bury the gutters, another one says you don't have to, just to get longer spouts and get it away. But I know we gotta get that corner up, we gotta get that water away up there somehow or other. Back here, longer gutters might work.
Turn the downspouts to back here, the one on this corner, turn it this way. That might help get it away from there, otherwise it's just kind of going and coming back.
And longer.
Right. Another thing I'm gonna recommend is, before we do anything on the building, we need to take the siding off and take a look at the structure on this side of it, just to make sure, because there's no sense putting a whole bunch of money into this place if we don't have a decent structure back there. And I was told that it's not good. I don't know if that's true, but we need to find out. So I don't know if you guys want to rip it off yourself and take a look?
Not the aluminum.
Or have somebody else do it.
Yeah.
But I think we do need to take a look at that before we start putting thousands and thousands of dollars into holding tanks and roof and all that good stuff.
I agree.
I mean, if the structure's good, go for it. But if it isn't, I think we need to rethink the process. Just a thought.
So you want to arrange for that? Or do you do siding?
No.
Kevin's already said no.
I'll have to talk to Bucky or, I don't know, Joe, how easy is it to rip the aluminum siding off? You start top and pull it, you're gonna wreck it, right?
Yeah, most likely, if you're gonna take off large areas, you're gonna ruin some. And then if you do, to try to patch it is ridiculous.
I would say it would be cheaper to take the drywall out,
That's very possible, yeah.
you know, than try and take the siding off.
Well, whichever way you want to look at it.
The only thing with the siding is,
Go from the inside
the
out.
only thing with the siding would be if somebody would try it and see if it would come off. Sometimes it comes off easy. If that's the case, it'll come off and go back on again. If it doesn't, then stop and. That's
The vinyl siding is easy, just hook it and pull.
Yeah.
Well, that's easy, yeah. Then you're, even to utilize it at all, then you're talking about new siding. Whereas the siding right now, if the structure is good, it's fine.
Who did the remodel on this to begin with? Who did the siding?
You know who did the siding, Joe?
No.
That was done, what, 20 years ago, Dave?
I wouldn't remember.
Well, you're on the board longer than anybody else.
I don't remember.
Well, my thought is take the plunge and do it. We've been talking about this building for 4 or 5 years, about how bad the siding is, and how bad the mold and everything. All that you ever hear is, yeah, we gotta do this, we gotta do that. Nobody does a damn thing, so we're sitting here in the same like we were 4 or 5 years ago. So, you know, somebody's gotta take a plunge and do it. I mean, just go out there and do it, or get somebody to do it.
When they remodeled to do this, did they check any of that?
Well, my understanding was they covered up because they ran out of money. That's what I kind of was told.
Yeah, me too.
What did
I
it
heard
cost
that.
to remodel it?
I don't know. Whatever it was, they ran out of money. That was before me.
No. Who
Yeah,
ran
me
out of
too. It was,
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
it's
they made
been-
that office and we changed all the voting and put this out and
some places gotta be a record what it costs us and what they did.
Sure it is.
Which has no bearing on it one way or the other. What they need to do is I would say, start below those windows in that room and start looking at the drywall out of there and take a look.
My guess is if that wall was as bad as it supposedly is, and that was how many years ago, it wouldn't be standing there right now.
I still think you gotta check.
Well, Gary's good at drywall.
Start in the closet.
No, I'm not allowed to do drywall.
The wife hollered at you, is that what you're saying? You can get the hole in the wall.
So, oh
No,
well,
we
anyway.
can cut the hole in the wall and we should be
Take a
able to
look.
rip it out in between.
You may need
Yeah.
Put a picture
more,
over
couple of
the back,
spots.
yeah.
Yeah,
See that big thing there? Put that over the wall, screw it.
Just to get through, if we knew we did the remodel on the outside, it'd be nice to know if they put some wrap on the outside before they did it, then, you know.
Nobody knows. I
okay,
can tell you. But anyway,
yeah, good idea. Okay, so now it's,
I mean, we gotta replace the roof there.
we got what?
We gotta replace the roof.
Well, you gotta find out the building's sound first. That's what I'm saying, because if the building's not sound, we might be looking at putting up a different building. So,
Yeah, but you gotta replace the roof, because this roof is gonna be leaking shortly.
I think one of you need to make a motion that you get this started, get it done.
well,
There's 5 gallons left for
nobody's
sale for a bucket.
responding.
In the bargain.
I met with Jeremy Brown from Arnold Structures, had him down here Friday after he left and went to Marwood and came back with him. His thought in shooting the grades and stuff too, in talking to you, Deb, about getting dinged from the elections board because of the concrete outside. You know, the concrete on the corner is bad. You know, his thought was the whole thing comes out even though it looks good. You can put a different taper on. There's a low spot outside. When we talked to Al with the trenching, he kind of thought if we could tie the rain gutter on the other side around the front into this and come down if we were going to do drain tile. You know, but it's 2 guys now that said put drain tile on this side, get the water away. And with the concrete slab outside this door leaning back towards the building and the steps to go towards the postings outside for the stuff is posted that, you know, one slab through there, you know, a bigger slab. If we're gonna rip up the one, we get rid of the 2 blocks and do it. Grading the back side, we don't necessarily have to drain tile back here, but there's enough slope to grade it out so it hits the lowest spot and it'll continue to run. When it's wet in the spring, it's wet. It's not here right now, but I mean, it's like anybody's house. You can't mow when it's wet. So,
right.
and I cleaned the gutter out Friday, and it seemed even after all the rain, I got down here at 6:30, nothing was against the wall. The gutter was plugged. I opened it up again for me to run over the lawnmower. The water was running out. It seemed to run down to the ditch over here just fine. So it wasn't pooled up on the end. But with all the slaves on the outside leaning back towards the building, it's got to be done. I mean, I'll pull it out and get dirt, throw dirt in there. I don't really care, but probably easier just to dig it out, put the landscape rock along the edge, and put the plastic down. So I think the water problem on that side is there. And when Jeremy was in the building, he was looking where the tile and stuff is, and he can see that there's a lot of moisture that is building up front. And it is just, it's got to get dried out. Dried out, I think you solve a lot of problems.
I think you and I went through all of that with the drain tile thing at that one time, didn't we? And taking out sidewalks
And where are we gonna drain it to?
out to the ditch, sure. Wasn't it, Joe?
The ditch, yeah. Yeah, we shot grades.
So how much
And it's
drop,
been shot before.
so how much drop do you need and how much you got?
Well, the biggest problem is that corner up there, because it's actually higher than the slab.
Yeah.
Just a little ways away from the flag out there. And so that, it's gonna take more than just some concrete work. You're gonna have to do something with some of the blacktop area and get it to run away and create a run around to get it to run away from the building on that side. The way it's gonna run
The
up
whole
there,
thing,
run away
the
from the
whole thing
building.
should have been up at least 1 foot, if not 2 foot, right?
Yeah, I don't think either concrete could just reasonably good and a couple pumps.
Does anyone know if those pillars out there, are they on that slab, or do they go down deeper?
Okay,
That's the question of the day.
let's have a motion to have Gary and Kevin, do some real research here on the building, so we know exactly where we are. If it means knocking out drywall or whatever to get to it, we need to know. So, somebody wanna make a motion, or do I make the motion that?
Does
Does
Okay,
anyone know if
And that,
one end of the building was worse than the other end?
That way it was worse. It was supposed to be on the north side corner here, am I correct, Dave?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, by the window in the office, start knocking out drywall, and I guess you'll find out if it's structurally sound around that window, we should be gold. Because if any place, it's gonna be around the window. And it's bad.
The window that might have been replaced if they did the window too, if that was.
Well, then they would have had to replace the structure underneath it, otherwise it wouldn't be standing well.
So the first question is, 73 is when the building was put up, per se.
Yeah, Ronnie, what did you wanna say?
Okay, on that same token, if you're gonna check around the building, you better start checking that holding tank.
Yeah, we already did. We're talking about the structure of the building underneath the siding. Okay, that's what we're looking at right now. The holding tanks, we've already discussed those. So,
Yeah,
Or you
do
got a
we
swimming
know-
pool around here.
We don't know right now if we're gonna have enough money to do the roof, this stuff, and the holding tank this year, because we only got 20,000 in the budget.
yeah.
So now we knock out walls, we're gonna have to patch the walls yet.
well, that's okay.
Do that gingerly.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna make a motion that Gary and Kevin do what investigating you can do, see if you can figure out how sound this place is before we do anything.
Fire department's got some new thermal imagers.
What did you just say?
Fire department has some new thermal imagers.
Doesn't look that old though. Or rotten boards, I mean.
I'll second that.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded for Gary and Kevin to check out this building so we know exactly where we are. We've heard so many rumors, we don't know where we stand, except that things are going to pot. Anyway,
You know, and if, I mean, if we could find out what year they remodeled all this, we maybe have some records, can
We
talk
can-
to
we
whoever
can
did it.
Find that out.
we can find that out. Okay, any
it's-
any further discussion on it?
I'll second your motion.
I already did.
Okay, so, okay, let's take a vote on it.
Debbie? Aye. Dave?
Aye.
Carolyn?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Gary's cringing.
It's okay, Gary. It'll be all right. Okay, let's move on. Clerk, approval of checks and financial reports.
Carolyn, you missed your report and mine.
No, mine I gave. I said I didn't have any much.
Well, then you
The
missed
only
me.
thing I had to do was, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, we went right over the top of you here, sorry.
We put new bark in the park, okay, and did all that, but I'm getting prices for lawn mowing. I've gotten 4 so far. I made 8 phone calls. I had a guy over this afternoon, as a matter of fact, he had been gone the weekend, but he would also like to submit a price. And I've gotten a couple of phone calls on other ones, so I would like this put on the agenda for next time.
Next time.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry. The park looks absolutely wonderful.
Oh, and I also want to put some ceiling, Gary, how are you with ceiling fans?
Put them up.
over there.
Putting them up, yeah. I'd like to put a couple in the pavilion.
Well, your biggest worry there is wiring.
Yeah.
Well, there's lights there, so you can take a light out and put one in, right?
Well, probably if you wanna take the light down and put both up there, but then you gonna leave the light, or are you gonna put a fan with the light up there?
Well,
And
you
then
got
then you
three
need to
rows
have
of-
two switches or a long
Well, see, that's what I'm
cord.
asking you. You know, how are you putting fans up?
Is there drywall? Is the lights mounted through the drywall?
How is that, Patty?
Cause you need a lot heavier,
Yeah,
you need a
box.
lot heavier
Yeah.
box to
Mhm.
hold the fan than you do a light.
I can't remember just off the top of my head
Is
how
that
that.
car
Car siding or
Yeah,
Car
it's
siding
car
on top,
siding.
I'm assuming.
Okay, it's car siding on top of the ceiling.
And the McMillan Electric did upgrade something up there 2 years ago.
Well, yeah, that was the wiring for when they had
You know,
the
so-
band.
You know, he
Yeah.
might be willing to talk to, see if, make sure that we're good.
Yeah.
Use some of our resources that we have, folks.
Well, I can't see where a fan.
Well, he's not,
Is that big, I mean, I can install a fan, I can help with that. Just-
McMillan's been sold. McMillan Electric.
But these guys are still licensed electricians.
Right.
which is what we need.
Was he asking if I could actually install a fan?
That was my neighbor. He asked that, not me.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what you need to know if it's,
If I took the light out, I'd have to see if the box was up there basically, so it would be stable
if it
enough.
was
So it's not
stable
one-
enough, but then
Okay.
you gotta decide whether you want just a fan, or if you want a fan
With a light.
and a light.
Well, I think we could get by with just a fan because we got plenty of lights around it.
Because that would save you of trying to run
The wiring, yeah,
right if you
The
want
extra
two, if
wiring.
you want two controls.
yeah. Okay.
All right, Clark. Anything else? Sorry.
Yeah, I'd like to get it wired too, also to the gazebo. The gazebo is wired, okay, but I think I'm going to have it wired for, put a fan in there with a small light. Yeah. I even talked to somebody today that does trenching. You guys know him.
Okay.
Or,
And I could almost get that trenching, never mind, we'll catch
Okay,
it.
let's move on to the clerk's.
Just one thing, was there alarm system for the holding tanks or not? Is there?
Up there?
Yeah, is there-
No, there is no alarm on those holding tanks because those tanks ended up full last Saturday, or Saturday before. And we had to actually have somebody extra come out and pump them on Saturday. There are no alarms on them, which we did not know, and they were all full. So, yeah, so we had to call OK Sanitary and they came out and did that for us.
I thought you had to have alarms on,
I don't know
or a
what
light or something.
you would think, I have no idea.
Huh?
Check if I got a closet or.
Yeah, we went through
We went through
everything.
everything, there's nothing wired to the tanks at all.
That may be something else that you wanna get in there that is, because how it missed the code thing there, I have no idea, but I believe that there's supposed to be alarms.
Well, that's what we thought too, and we figured, well, when the alarm goes off, we get it
I
pumped, right?
think
No
now
alarm.
you even need an audible.
That's what he was
Yeah,
saying. You
it's
gotta
like
be
the one,
controlled.
it'd be like the box behind here,
Yeah.
which is odd that this building has it and that doesn't. I don't know how it got,
Yeah, I have no clue, but my ceiling fan, my fans are more important than that right now.
It's a pump.
I just got a light in the garage that comes on.
All right, clerk, maybe we have your report.
So your checklist in front of you, the checks 1493, 192, with electronic fund transfer 1711, 13 includes disbursements on that list are
Take a breath.
$800,301.76.
I'm guessing Steiner Septic was here and then Zoller was,
Steiner Septic pumps the fire department, is out there pumps the town hall and the garage, and OK is the one that went into the building on there.
On a Saturday, they're the only ones that pump on Saturday, and they called me also, and wanted to know, it's an extra $75 charge because it was on Saturday. Otherwise, they charge 173, or, I thought she said 172. But they would give us a $40 credit if we changed over to them. Well, Zoblin charges, what, 140?
Yes.
So the $40 credit on the $75, it doesn't add up very well, so we're better off to stay with Zoblin.
You also have a different rate per volume for tank anyway, so.
Yeah, so. We will be keeping a better eye on that. Now that we know.
Okay,
What was check number 14955? Darwin,
That must be from him.
is that what that was?
Which one, where?
14955 for $8,850.75?
That's just, that's
no,
No.
that's, you're going, got the wrong price.
55 is Darley,
Okay,
55 is dark.
District
the
2.
one for $8,850, what
That's
is it?
District 2, that's red power diesel,
For?
the ladder trucks.
And that, was that when you guys were saying it's supposed to be $5,000 to $6,000?
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the other issues that came up with it is that they found that there's a auto greasing, actually there's two auto greasing systems that are on the truck, one for the chassis underneath and one for the ladder. The one for the ladder is working properly right now, but the one for the chassis was not working properly.
And
So
they
the
found
choice
that when they
was,
were fixing?
correct.
Is that
And
what
that's
falls
where
in
it
favor
goes
of the steer?
They don't believe so. They believe that the reason that some of the parts had failed, some of them some of them also were because it was locked out. When we originally received it, and when we were told for information, it says do not use it under any circumstances. It's faulty. We since found out that it's not just a trailing axle back there when you hook it. It actually has hydraulics that move it. And do things so it actually steers and actually can go around corners shorter than our pumper out there, which is, when you get on the fire ground, is very important. When you start putting fire trucks around the driveway, all of a sudden you want to get this right into the driveway. Some of the parts needed to be changed. There's a couple of pieces that were on there needed to be changed strictly for safety. They said you'd have to take the rig out of service, so we said, okay, we're gonna move on that. And they said, well, we got all of this apart, move into the rest of it, fix the whole thing, and that's what we ended up doing. And we did not get the auto greaser refixed. We just had them cut the lines and put greasers on it, so now we'll have the greaser, but that was much cheaper than trying to get the system, back up and running again. And we could, the way that they terminated it, we could go through, rehook up the lines and figure out what's wrong with it, but at their pay rate, we couldn't afford it. But the reason it went down is because that, like I said before, red power diesel or District 2, that's more of a building thing. That's Pierce's specialty, that's their factory warranty, so that's who you want to take it to, because if you follow some of the bills and stuff, we've had D&H Crane shop do the rams, because that's what they do rams and stuff like that, so that's where we took it, it's more reasonable. But this with the steering is their thing. The guy that did work on it said that the system itself now is very sound. He says that he would have recommended us doing some other things to it to take it out of service if it was not a sound unit, but it is a sound unit. It just had a couple of these, there's like the dogs that lock in and stuff that needed to be replaced.
And what was Darling?
Darley's Imager.
That is the, okay.
I got a question on 14966 Massimo,
Yes.
$5,355, what's that?
That is this is out of the EMS stuff, so I'm gonna do the best that I can on this. This basically, it is a pulse ox, and it also has allowed us to take your CO levels that are in your blood. We're getting, periodically, we get calls and stuff where we have high CO in the building, and the people are like, no, I'm not going up. We have some kids, they should be checked out. No, we're not going. And the reason that we've done this is because if we can take this device now and we can put that on and go, you have high levels, you really should go up. This usually convinces them that they should go up to the clinic or up to the hospital and be looked at. so that nothing further happens to them. So it's really kind of, otherwise we'd have to call out the ambulance, get the ambulance out here, and then they'll have an ambulance bill on top of that.
So this is the pulse, or is it the CO2? It's not a CO2?
It's a combination, there's a special name for it, but it's basically does pulse ox as a standard pulse ox, and it also measures your
CO2 level.
Right, it does your oxygen. A standard pulse ox would
Okay,
not be able to do the CO because it would still turn your blood red.
okay, very good.
And there is, that, right, and there is, some of that has been covered under grant too, but that is the full cost of the machine, so.
Okay, how much was covered under the grant?
I think it was like
1,500?
yes.
Is there a motion to accept the list of checks?
The 30,000 is the fire truck payment,
Yes.
14,951 is the number. I'll make a motion to approve the checks as presented by Patty for $80,301.76.
I'll second.
The motion has been made and seconded to approve the list of checks for June 12th, 2017. Is there any further discussion? One, okay,
Was it
14938, yeah, Dave seconded.
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Carolyn,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Kevin.
Aye.
Moving on to the report.
So you have two financial reports in your packet. One is from April 30th, the other is from the end of May. There's a note on April 30th that the beginning balance is adjusted from March's because of a duplicate payment to Mississippi Welders. Hence the reason I would like to get the statements and invoices in the clerk's office more often than not. So the ending balance on March 31st was off by $23.25 because that was the amount of the duplicate check that was returned. And do you have any questions on that, or do you want me to read it to you?
You know, just anything that needs to be talked about is all you need, we can read it.
That's all that
That
Okay,
needs to
so-
be talked about. Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the April 30th financial report for the clerk.
Second.
okay, the motion's been made and seconded to approve the April 30th, 2017 clerk financial report. Is there discussion? Okay, vote.
Debbie?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Okay, do we want to do the treasurer next on this one so we can wait April? Steve?
The May report?
April.
Can I
April.
read it?
Actually, I have a request of you, Steve. Any transactions that occur on any of these things, can you report on those monthly when you give this report? I mean, just so we know that if you took, you know, renewed the new CD or whatever, or otherwise, then you can just say there were no changes to, or that you did not do any transactions? Is that,
I'm not sure I understand.
okay. I looked and looked and looked for the volunteer firefighters fund savings account, went through, and 1 month it's 27, the next 17. I didn't realize you had transferred the money. So what I would like is for you to just say, we transferred the money out of this account to make the payment. Because you did it in January and the payment's not until June.
Correct.
So, I mean, just so I don't have to go back and try to find this stuff.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think that's too difficult.
I typically transfer cash from the tax savings account to the general operating fund checking account the day after the board meeting.
Okay.
So should I read April's or?
No, I'll make a motion to
No.
approve April 30th financial
Okay.
report from the treasurer.
Second.
Okay, a motion's been made and seconded to approve the April 30, 2017 financial report of the treasurer. Is there any discussion? Okay, Patty, you can vote.
Aye. Dave,
Aye.
Carolyn,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Kevin.
Aye.
Okay, then let's go to May.
Man, I don't have any notation.
Okay, the checking account balance for the bank on May 31st was $18,678.76. Outstanding checks were $623.25. Reconciled checking account balance was $18,055.51. Tax savings account was $444,515.55. Park fund savings account, $7,883.97. Firefighter savings account, $17,299.80. Fire department equipment CD, $20,150.29. And the public works CD, which has renewed subsequent to that, but it had new information, $27,929.05 for an ending total cash balance of $535,834.17.
Did you transfer 3,000 for the copy machine?
I certainly did.
Okay. That's what I figured. I'll make a motion to approve the financial report from May 31st.
I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve the financial report of the treasurer for May 31st, 2017. Any discussion?
What about the outstanding checks? You were listing those monthly, but you aren't now. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, didn't get included, I guess. I can get that for you though.
Okay.
Okay, Patty?
Debbie,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Carolyn,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Kevin.
Aye.
Okay, unfinished business. Approve, disapprove resolution to surplus town electronics.
Is there anything from Marathon County?
Yes.
In part of her report, you missed that?
What was it?
You're like going contribution.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just have.
Yeah, okay.
They sent a postcard that has enhanced zoning services. Cindy Fricky is a zoning assistant for the county zone towns in western Marathon County. And it's got, I have her contact information if anybody needs it. I got a notice from Josh, what he just explained to you. Marathon County is looking for Board of Adjustment members. And we have agendas and notices of hearings from hearings that are already passed. One's for Foley. The other one is for Foley. Got address notifications. Certified survey maps for Plover. There's a new address on Main Street, new address on, and a bunch of zoning applications, if you want to go through. Oh, Coach Light is the other new address.
Okay, you made a comment before too on duplicate receipt. How do you plan to resolve this?
I don't know.
If you got the mail, you get the mail from the fire department, or does the fire department get their own mail? Do you get your bills over there?
Some of those come to us, and some of them are.
Can she get all of them? I mean, that's how it used to be. The clerk got all of the mail. And then you guys bring your invoices to match.
We used to get timely statements and everything too from the clerk and the treasurer too, we don't get that anymore. That's been hard too, so.
Well, we're talking about mail right now.
Correct, if all the mail goes over there,
Then you need the invoices to come with it. That's all you need, correct? Because you'd be getting the statements in the mail, am I correct?
You would think, wouldn't you?
Would that speed up your process? Hopefully?
she's already getting about 4 or 5 times a month. I've been moving them over. About once a week I try to get them over to her. Some weeks there isn't anything, so sometimes it's not there.
Well, I know you were digging for one the other day from May 18th when I was here. So,
The receipt.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. There's got to be some resolution to some of this because it's been going on forever. Would her getting the mail help? I mean, for any bills.
They would get them quicker to her, but then I'm gonna need the statements or copies of everything.
Well, I would guess that if she had them first and you need a copy, you could request a copy from her. Because otherwise, getting this stuff to her seems to be the...
There has been times.
We went through this a couple months ago, folks. We gotta work together here.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Would this be a better process for her to get the mail
I
and...
think when the chair was gone, we had this conversation, do we not? You and me?
Yes, and I'm getting it over there.
Okay.
Now back to my question. Would this work out better for you, Patty? Okay. I'd like to make a motion then that the mail for the fire department go to the clerk. Because I think it's supposed to pass through there anyway. And then be distributed accordingly.
All mail?
Yeah.
That makes it a little
Is
difficult.
it all mail or is
Yeah.
it bills?
Yeah,
I'll second so we can discuss it.
okay. The motion was made to have all mail
Go through the clerk's office.
go through the clerk's
The
office.
clerk is responsible for all of the records, regardless if they are fire department, park, roads, whatever. The clerk is responsible for all of it. So I think she needs to get the mail on all of it, because she gets it for everything else. She gets it for the roads and the whole shot. And if you need a copy of a statement, that's the one you need to go to.
So she gonna do that every day?
Are you gonna do that every day?
I do
No.
now.
Oh, she does now.
I come home on my days off and check the mail.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
Okay. So it's not gonna be anything new or different for you to pick it all up?
No.
Okay.
So here's my question that would come into play. What would you be allowed to open up if something is attention to somebody else?
Like, what do you?
Well, we
Just
shouldn't be
something-
getting any
I don't
personal mail
understand.
anyway.
Well,
No, it'd be attention to the chief or the assistant chief or the MS or whatever.
Mhm.
The point, that's his point.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're gonna have to trust her to make sure that that gets to each department.
no, by rights, I can't open up the mail for my wife.
Yeah, well. I don't
Don't get any mail, yeah.
But like I said, the clerk is responsible for all township records, so that's just my thought.
About as much mail as I do phone calls.
The motion's been made and seconded for the clerk to get all of the mail, period.
So right now, you got 2 different mailboxes?
There's 2 different mailboxes up there.
So do we need to have a billing address changed so everything is just right to the town of McMillan and town of McMillan Fire Department?
Yeah, either that or just pick it up out of the other mailbox.
Take one down. Try
Rodney?
it. Take one down, try it.
Well, listen, Rodney, what is your viewpoint on this?
I guess I have no objections if Patty wants all of the bills, all of that stuff changed over to her. My request is that each statement and invoice that I get a copy of it. Right now, I'm making the copy and then it gets over there.
Mhm.
There has been times in the past where we end up going and for whatever reason, and Patty's been very good, so I'm not throwing her under the bus, but we have had other clerks and things things have gotten lost, and I have had copies over there, so we were able to make a copy, it's there. The other thing is, a lot of the bills before Patty should be just putting it in front of you going, here it is. I should be seeing it because we have had times in the past where they're billing us for stuff that they should not be billing us for. A lot of this stuff, I'm talking back and forth with the vendors, not Patty, so Patty's gonna have no idea.
Well, you can make them a copy of each bill or statement, because normally that's what she's gonna get is the statements. You're gonna already have the invoices, am I correct?
The thing is once you change it, you said all mail. All mail will be going to her, our magazines, everything. You said all mail.
Yeah.
So we
Well,
won't
no,
be
So
receiving
you're
it.
not gonna have the invoices then, she's
I will
gonna
have
get,
nothing.
you won't have anything, you won't have the
Correct.
invoices, you wouldn't have the bills, nothing.
Why
Any
didn't you have the
packages, anything that's
invoice?
sent through the mail, then
Or
we
You won't be
will.
getting them, is what I'm saying, so
It's going to her.
it's going to her, everything. If everything goes, I mean, that means everything.
Right, packages, everything.
Well, that would be great. I don't have a problem with packages going to her.
Well, so,
Because they come to my house a lot of times now, which I don't have a problem with that. I'm just saying, you can distribute that mail accordingly, am I correct?
yep.
I think put it on one person instead of splitting it, and we're gonna be a whole lot better off. 'Cause
Well,
then
we'll
it-
try it
Yeah.
and see how it works.
Yeah,
The problem is once you've gone through all the grief and changing it, you're gonna change it back.
Maybe not.
well, it's not
No,
really that
don't
big.
change it, don't change it, I just have her pick up.
I don't think we should change the.
Addresses?
The
No,
address.
just pick up the
I think
mail.
Just pick up the
I
mail.
think just leave that as it is.
I mean, you should be able to distinguish if, you know, you want the magazine or not, right?
So you're gonna get all their mail, then you're gonna put
Distribute it accordingly.
his copies and what he needs back in his box in here.
Or, no, or the other mailbox.
No, you put it in his mailbox in the town hall.
No, but I mean, like all the magazines and stuff, she's gonna haul it up there and then bring it down and put it in here? Come on, that just doesn't make sense.
Well, then leave those in there, whatever you want to pick through. I mean,
You
as far
need
as
to-
getting the mail, I mean.
Well, you can figure out how it works best.
I have a question. What about your UPS deliveries for the fire department? Would she get those also?
Those come to my house sometimes.
Okay, that's not a problem.
Well, we've tried to work on that too, because that's ridiculous also.
Well, the UPS guy asked me, and so did FedEx, because I'm home 90% of the time, if they can drop it off at my place, and I told them, yes, they could. And as soon as the package comes in, I text Rod and let him know. And it's worked. Am I correct?
For the most part, yes.
Why, what happened?
A lot of packages are still dropped off at the fire station. I mean, it's not, they don't all go to your house.
Right, I
mean,
understand that. That's
Well, I know, but everybody else doesn't know you.
Everywhere else, all
Okay.
in our place, they just
Pitch them out
put
there.
it on, yes, they just set it there. They don't come ring the doorbell or nothing. They just drop and go. I know that Dave Weir up here, the UPS guy, asked if anyone from the board was here and could sign for a package.
Yeah.
So for the most part, Rod, you're here every day.
Yes.
Patty, you're coming in just to get the mail on the days that you're not working?
Yep.
Would it be easier if Rod got the mail, brought it into here?
I still let's her be responsible for the mail for the township. Like I said, that's how it always used to be. The clerk was always responsible for all records.
Okay, let's vote. Is there any further discussion? Let's vote.
Debbie? Aye. Dave?
Aye.
Carolyn?
Aye.
Jerry?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
We will bring
Try and
this
see how it
back
works.
next month and see how it's working, okay? Or maybe 2 months from now. Okay, now, we go to unfinished business. Approve, disapprove resolution to surplus town electronics.
Are those the,
It's it's those things from the plan commission.
Chrome laptops.
Okay, 5 Chromebooks, there's a laptop, there could be a desktop depending on what Virgil does next week with the computers, the old copy machine, and, I mean, there's old cassette tape recorders in that office that, why they're there.
So we need a resolution to do this.
So you need a resolution to do it. It just says that there's several pieces of equipment that have exceeded their useful life or are no longer in use that don't serve the town. It's the desire of the board to declare the equipment surplus. And according to the town association, the board should authorize one person to dispose of the equipment in an expeditious manner in the best interest of the town.
I'll move that we designate the clerk to dispose of the excess electronics in the township in a judicious manner.
One second.
The motion's been made and seconded to have the clerk dispose of the surplus town electronics as she sees fit, I guess.
How about if we amend that motion to say that you approve resolution 2017?
Oh,
And we
okay.
authorize
Okay.
the clerk to be the
Okay. What is it? Resolution 20?
2017-1.
Okay.
I'll amend my motion to
This is the resolution number.
Is there
resolution
anything we can use some
2017-1.
things for in the fire
I
department?
don't know what she's talking about.
There are, okay, the motion is on the floor. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded to approve the resolution 2017-1. Is there further discussion? Now, your question.
They're like a tablet. I was just wondering if the fire department could use them for anything.
The Chromebooks. Unless they have everything on Google, they're
Yeah.
worthless.
They would have to, if you put it online, and then you would work off everything online. Okay, which they don't have that.
See, the plan commission, we thought they were getting all those.
I know, I thought
things.
they were getting
Yes,
like
and so
computers and
now
laptops.
they've all turned them back in because they can't get them to work. And there's a special way you have to do it, and I don't, so there's no reason for us. Are you able to sell those, Patty, or what do you do with them? Or do you get anything back
I
for them?
I might have 3 of them already sold
Oh, you do?
for $50 a piece.
Ooh, which is the sad part, because they pay
Well,
pretty
right now,
well for
they're
them.
doing $147.99, I think.
Well, it's better than nothing.
Better
So,
than them sitting on
yes.
the counter. We
Yeah.
just don't have all 5 of them back yet.
Oh,
Poppy and Davis must still have one.
well, no, she turned hers in. She gave it to
Then
us.
there's 2 out there somewhere.
Okay, well, maybe
I have
it's
John,
Ron
Mike,
and Poppy.
Ron and Poppy.
I think so.
I didn't think John ever used this.
No, he used his,
He used his own, I
Yeah.
thought.
so, okay.
So what it's gonna be is,
Okay.
get what you can, pretty much.
Yeah, okay. Can we take a vote?
David,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Carolyn,
Aye.
Gary,
I,
Kevin.
Aye.
Okay, review and amend 2017 budget and designations.
These were carried over. We did take the 3,000 from Parks and put it into the cost of the new copier, and I also separated that out, clerk, treasurer, highway, fire department, plan committee, the purchase and the quarterly contract. We're coming back and looking at this again because of highway, and I got Pat to split the cost of that one invoice that made his machinery operations go over budget. So everything's in line with highway. Ladder one is, the budget is blown with this check.
So
That
So
needs
they
an
need to move
adjustment.
some money for that.
Highway doesn't need the adjustment, I did everything for the copier that we talked about at the last meeting, so the only thing to follow up on this is, the ladder truck at this point.
So you need to find where you're gonna get some money from, correct? Is that what this amounts to? Where he wants to move it from? And any suggestions?
Well, some of it, I know that the thermal imager came in well under, so I figured that can be what was left there out of the thermal imager. And then we discussed as a department that we probably will not be putting the porta tank on the side of tanker one. Those are two things that I know that came up right off the top.
So that would make up the difference?
Probably not all of it. There might be a little bit left yet.
So why don't you take a look at that this month and bring it back next month, so you can cover that.
So you didn't take 400 out for the copier? We talked about the copier. You said everybody'd have to pay 400 for the copier. So,
No, I didn't. The copier, where it was discussed at the last meeting, the purchase price with the park paying $3,000, the balance on that was $1,753. That means each department paid $350.60. The clerk, the treasurer, the highway, the fire department, and the county all paid that. That adjustment was made. That was what was approved at the last meeting.
okay, so where did you take it? But he was supposed to, on my notes, it said he was to come back to you and tell you where to take it from.
The 350.
From the fire department.
Right.
Where would you take it other than office?
Well, no, that's what he said. He was going, that's where you should do it. I just thought, you said then Rodney needed to tell you where to take it out of.
No, I didn't. I don't recall.
Okay, that came out of office then.
Correct, that's what I came up with.
Okay, so then this 8,000, you gotta find the difference from what was budgeted, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you need to, I think, bring that back to us next month. Fair?
Officers gotta make that decision.
Right,
Yeah.
so you guys will have to adjust accordingly. Everything else is taken care of, Patty?
Yes.
Okay, so are we through with this? What?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Approve, disapprove designation of CDs.
Okay, what we have to do on that is designate them specifically, correct? Like the fire department equipment CD, that has to be designated specifically, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
SCBA's.
What?
For SCBA's.
SAB?
SCBA's.
Which is what?
Our breathers.
Okay,
That's gonna be our next major.
okay, so that's designated for breathers. I understand that better than
Okay.
SCBA.
Self-contained breathing apparatus.
What other? We have another CD in the public works. We can put that into the town hall. Just a thought. Well, if you got no designation for it, I
Well,
should do.
what, Dave?
I guess I'm thinking about that, I'd like to talk to Pat. We talked about it on more, that's Scott's page on it.
Well,
Grader, I don't know. Maybe that isn't even got.
well, here, what do we have on our capital improvement plan? We do have something on our capital improvement plan. Right, Dave?
Should.
for 2017.
Might be cheaper to bid all from mowing the ditches and keep them repairing.
Oh, you're kidding. Gonna have to buy a new tractor, right? No? Or just the mower? Just the mower. Tractor, grass cutter, we have that down, for 2018,
For how much? What did they?
115. So,
Well, why don't we designate this almost 28,000 to that?
The 115 was for holding the tractor and mower.
No, it's more.
tractor and,
Tractor and mower, that's just for the mower, isn't it?
No, more, just the head, we checked before we got repairs for it, was 12,000.
Okay, so what is this 100 and some thousand for?
well, that was.
That was a guesstimate, that's probably what the last one cost.
Tractor and mower.
Yeah.
So,
So it's just a thought, Dave, you're gonna know more than anybody else about tractors and how old they are and the availability of new attachments for old equipment. How much of it is still, it seems every model, every 2 years has something, even Ron is gone now.
Well, that model there is specific to that vintage tractor. I mean, I've seen them in the Towns Association letter. Some of them are cheap, but some of them aren't cheap. Some of them just rotate them every couple, 3, 4, 5 years, or we get so many hours on them. I guess we get some quotes and bring back next month.
So is it the main housing wearing out, or the whole arm assembly, or?
It was the arm assembly, the wrist part. He'd welded and fabricated on that long enough, I said, just replace the whole works. That's what the bill was from Tank Machinery. And, I think the money we stuck in last year was for a hydraulic motor, and of course, every year's blades.
It was only $11 last year.
What's that?
It was only $11 last year in the tractor.
Well, then it didn't get taken out of the back
yeah, exactly.
It was $17.
Oh, yeah, I
I
remember,
know there
yeah.
was hoses put on there, I know there was, I thought a hydraulic motor put on there,
Is that all they use that
and
tractor
there was
for?
tires put on there.
For cutting brush?
Pardon me?
Is that all they use that tractor for? Cutting brush?
Grass and brush, and then you use it for salt and sand for loading sometimes. It's got a loader on the front. I have to check the hours on it.
Dave, doesn't the Cruiser have a mower?
Pardon me?
Cruiser has a mower.
We've used that on there, but it is not nearly as handy as that tractor.
That's what we used to use prior to the tractor.
Yep. Yep.
You should contract out our mowing too.
Yeah.
Check that out.
As I said before, it might be cheaper to
They
contract.
rented tractors too.
Huh?
They said they rented tractors too, and that could be.
Yeah, we did that.
Yes, we rented the tractors to do it. Yeah.
That was
Well, we also contracted the whole thing out, mower and tractor together.
That was years ago.
Well, we did it.
Well, my dad come with a several
Well, I mean-
more, but it won't do what that cutter does now to maintain ditches.
Other townships are bidding it out.
Well, we're not gonna discuss whether we're going doing mowing or not. We're trying to figure out our CDs. So what do you want to put on there? You coming back with something?
For now, for tonight, put the tractor more on it, but we'll talk about it next month,
So we're just gonna hold it, basically.
if you please.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the only one then, highway is the only one that you need. You're covered otherwise, right?
The breather, for the SCBA for the fire department, and then the other one is on hold until next month. You need motion for, we can do that for the fire department one, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I make a motion that fire department equipment CD be for SCBA. designated towards that.
Second.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded to approve the designation of the fire department CD for SC meetings. Any discussion? Okay,
Hi. Dave.
Aye.
Karen.
aye.
Gary.
Aye.
Kevin.
Aye.
Okay, now let's move to new business. Approve, disapprove Mikulski CSM. Actually, we don't really even need to have this, just to be aware. You have all gotten the thing from Mikulski?
Move to approve the Mikulski CSM. All it is to.
All it is that if you look on it's, they squared it up because they had all these little notches and stuff in it. So it's not really any change of anything except squared up the lines.
Did you make the motion?
Sure.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the certified survey map for Lynn Mikulski. Is there any discussion? Okay, vote.
Debbie.
Aye.
Aye.
Carolyn.
Aye.
Gary.
Aye.
Kevin.
Aye.
Approve, disapprove liquor license to Belvedere Supper Club and Resource Recovery. Is that one on hold?
Both are on hold. The fastest and the soonest that you can have a board meeting and approve these is June 19th due to publication laws. I'm sorry, June 29th.
I was gonna say,
June 29th. So these need to be on hold, and we need to schedule a special meeting on June 29th.
29th or 30th, or the next week. Well, actually, it can't be the next week because they want to open the bar the next week, am I correct? Probably,
it
yes.
has to be.
So it's gotta be the 29th or 30th.
Their licenses expire June 30th.
Okay.
Ooh,
Yeah,
let's try the 29th. What day is that?
it's on a Thursday.
I don't think I
Oh,
want
God.
2 months off here. Date is the 29th.
It's a Thursday. Or day, whatever time you want to do.
Whatever works.
June 29th on a Thursday,
What time?
1 o'clock, how's that sound?
Works for me.
Will that work? Will that work for you, Kevin? No, huh? What time is the soonest that'll work for you?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock? Okay, well, why don't we do 4 o'clock? Is that gonna work for everybody else? 10? Okay.
Okay. Approve, disapprove waiver of fees for rental function.
Okay, we had a memorial there this weekend, which she has not paid for it at this time, and what I am asking to do is to waive the fee on this one because of the money situation that this lady is in. She's on disability and not getting much for money. So it was my idea to waive the fee on this, and I need the board's permission to do so.
I have a check from Kevin and Kendra Schmicky to pay for the rental for Saturday.
So we don't need the waiver?
So we need to.
I would say tell them thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Can you send them a thank you card? Please. Thank you.
Very good. Discussion, decision on change in policy for pavilion rentals.
Okay, we need to change the agreement to get rid of the bouncy houses that people want to bring in and trampolines and all that good stuff.
So it's just another something added
We
to
need
it?
to add that too. Also, we have an issue with, people want to pick up keys on Wednesday, Thursday, for, Saturday. What would you like to do on that? What we have been telling them is, you want a key early, it's $100 a day. Okay? Yeah, I mean, what else are we gonna do? They actually requested them as early as Wednesday, am I correct?
Yep.
For Saturday. So, we haven't given them to them, we've told them, Saturday morning is as soon as they can get them. So is there anything you would like to do in that respect?
I think most other places open them up the day of, or
Yeah,
even like Puzz, if you want to rent it for Puzz, you get it for the weekend, you don't get it for one day.
right.
I thought we had made a decision sometime back
We had
that we
talked
were,
about it.
if we give it to them the day before, then they pay an extra fee.
Yeah,
So-
we had talked about it, but it was never passed.
And well,
So, what do you know, if they wanna get the key on Friday night, you wanna charge them more?
not on Friday.
Well,
Jeez.
some of them wanna get in early, that's the way that kind of
If
works.
I promise someone that they can go in on a Friday night and then turn around and rent it on a Friday, you're gonna have issues.
Yeah,
I mean, look at August
Oh,
12th. If I could have 15 August 12s in the year of 2017,
I
we
mean,
take $1,500.
yeah,
But I don't have that. And I don't ever know when the rental is coming in. So
so,
just letting them come in on a Friday,
to pick up the key
early, you're gonna
and
have
then
issues.
we're gonna end up with an issue where somebody's gonna wanna rent it for that Friday at the last minute is what's gonna happen.
Okay,
Eventually.
so how are they gonna get, how are we?
They get the key on the mailbox on the day of their rental, or they wait until the back door is open. And what I've been telling them, and it worked out just fine.
Okay,
Mhm.
well then we don't need to change that.
So they can't get the key then on Friday.
Okay.
They pay
So
for the
we
day.
just need to make the, and so just make the
Don't really
addition
set up
to
with
the
no additional
contract.
rent.
Pardon?
Don't really set up with no additional rent.
Right. So now, if they're only gonna have it for a half a day on Friday, do you wanna just charge them for a half a day? What do you wanna do? Because they're gonna say, well, I don't wanna pay a whole $100 because I can get the key at 6 o'clock on Friday night. So do we just wanna charge them an extra 50 if they wanna get the key early?
No, leave the day to day.
Okay. Okay, so if they want the key early to Patty, they gotta get it on that day or pay for another day.
Okay.
But do add bouncy houses to the contract, not allowed, trampolines, etc. And tents by permission. Because then we can walk it through and show them where to put it.
And that will only be for anybody else that signs a new contract at this point, or anybody that
No, we will
has-
be calling all of them and telling them there are no bouncy houses. Because we had one a couple weeks ago, they just went and set it up, so somebody will get hurt eventually. Because the plugins and stuff are not set up for that. They just had an issue not too long ago in Florida, somebody unplugged one and it collapsed and hurt some little kids. Well, ours, we have a plug-in on the outside of the building, well, they plug into that, somebody trips over it, unplugs it, I mean, there's so much crap that can happen with them, so. Huh?
Or they blow away.
Well, that I ain't worried about so much, but kids getting hurt.
Okay, so we need a motion
I
to,
would like to make a motion to add to our contracts, no bouncy houses, trampolines, etc. Also, any tents that people want to put up need permission. And you phrase that accordingly to where it sounds good.
is there a second?
Second.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded to change the policy for the pavilion rentals to include no bouncy houses, tents, etc. And you've got the rest of that, right, Patty?
And if some of the guys passed and sees them up, then what?
These what, bouncy houses? Get the kids out and unplug them? I don't know. I mean, we will be calling everybody.
You can call the sheriff's department.
Yeah, but
Because
we will-
if it's in the contract, they shouldn't be doing it.
But the ones that have already signed, we have to contact them and let them know
Right.
no bouncy houses. Some we already have, so.
Okay.
Larry?
I have two questions. On your rentals, they're just renting the pavilion, correct? They're
Yeah.
not renting the park area, the playground area, or anything, that still is open to the public, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Second question is, if there is a bouncy house established up there, they should not get their refund.
Very true. Yeah. We'll have, if they break any of the rules, they shouldn't get their refund as far as that goes, so.
And a third question is, are these just rented to the town residents, or are they rented to outside people?
They have to go
Rented
through,
town residents.
they have to go through a town resident. Everybody does.
So the town resident that takes the responsibility for somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what they're doing.
maybe that should be clarified to the town resident when that happens, that they're responsible for any damage
They're the
or
ones-
anything.
They know that.
They know that because they're the ones signing the contract.
Yeah.
Well, evidently, whoever signed the contract for the bouncy house,
It was a town resident.
It was,
They never asked.
they never asked, they just went and set it up. And we
They
hadn't
just
had the
decided.
opportunity to talk to them, even, they never asked about it, they just did it.
And it wasn't on the
And it
contract,
wasn't
that's
on the
why we want
contract
to
at
add
the
it.
time, so. That's why we're here correcting this now.
Yeah. Okay,
Debbie,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Carolyn,
aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Kevin.
Aye.
Okay, the next thing is approve, disapprove renewal of assessor contract. We had our board of review, and he presented us with the contract.
I had 4 calls today that wanted us to put it out to bids.
I think that's a good idea too. And we can see what else is out there.
Well, we did that. We did that 3
Well-
years ago, and what a mess. But we can do it, so
I'll make
that's
a
what we're
motion
gonna do.
to put the assessor contract out to bids.
I'll second.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded to put the renewal of the assessor contract out for bids. Any discussion?
Yeah, what's wrong with what we got?
Nothing, absolutely nothing, but like I said, I had 4 phone calls today, and they want it put out for bids, so we also have to work for the people in township, so. See what's out there.
We can put it out for bids and see what's out there.
We don't
had
have to
this
take the
discussion-
low bid. We can.
Correct.
We
So
had this
we-
discussion before, and I look back, and since we've had him, there were no permits for $1,234,000 in 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. And we went through the bidding thing before, and you don't have a house-to-house inspection like you got now.
I agree, and I also think we're gonna have an issue is, I had to have the assessor go out to a house and have him reassess it. And I needed it done right away for a mistake, okay? And Jim did take care of it within a couple of days. That would be one of my questions, putting this out for bids. Are we gonna have that with somebody else?
The level of service.
Right.
Well, and the other, what did you say? And look at all the stuff he picks up, simply because he's local and he drives around and looks at all this stuff.
Well, I think
The guy from the
into
county,
looking at his phone
county goes around and gets some of that stuff too.
I
And I mean, that's not even part of his job to do that.
I understand.
But it is.
But then it is his job after he's told about it, or if somebody calls or whatever, to go and assess that property then,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, I thought his 20-some% is sort of a huge increase personally.
But we're still not up to par for what the other towns who pays for
Their assessed valuation.
their assessed valuation is not anywhere
That he
near
explained to us when
when we went over with the board of review. So, well, whatever, we have a motion and it's been seconded. Let's have a vote.
Debbie,
Aye.
Dave,
no,
Carolyn,
Now, wait a minute. Or approve or disapprove the, okay.
to go out to judge.
To go out for bids. Okay, yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Okay, approve, disapprove reappointment of town clerk. No, I think we need a lot of discussion.
I'll move
I
to
think we need
approve.
to ask the clerk if she wants to stay with us.
Tonight is probably not the night to ask that. You might want to consider, and I am speaking in all seriousness, of looking at a month basis.
Month by month?
Because right now, I want to walk out that door.
Oh,
Move to approve the reappoint the town clerk.
I'll second that motion.
motion has been made and second to approve the town clerk reappointment. Any discussion?
I think we need to know what the problems are, or they've been talked about not taken care of.
That. Yeah, everything that was talked about in closed session has not been taken care of. And what sent me over the edge was Saturday and the parking police coming to a memorial and going and talking to the VFW and then coming back and having everything blow up that it was someone else's fault. You came to a memorial, you have no right as a fire chief to come down there and tell the grieving widow's sister to start moving cars when I yelled at you 5 times to get your attention before I got to that door. And I asked you, I told you at that point I would take care of it. You didn't. You walked over to the VFW guys afterwards.
Yes.
And you knew Kevin was gonna come over there. You,
The two of them are friends. I
so
just went and talked to them.
after you,
Patty, when you said that you were gonna take care of it, I was done with that.
yep, and you went over and had small talk and couldn't get in your car and leave, going to someone else's memorial, that makes it okay for you to stop and talk to your friend?
I did not realize that it was a memorial until Kevin came
Everybody,
the second
including
time.
the guy that mows lawn and Pat, knew that this memorial was for a friend, a relative of Kevin Schmicky, and a former relative of mine. Everybody knew about it. Everybody's been talking about it since the day after it was on the calendar. Don't tell me you didn't know, because I don't
did
believe
not
you.
know.
Do we need to set up another closed session?
I think so.
Okay,
Let's vote on the reappointment first, so we can't, she doesn't leave on us tonight.
Debbie,
Aye.
Dave,
All right.
Carolyn,
aye.
here,
Aye.
Kevin.
Approve, disapprove appointment of Ken Harder and Ron Coates. This is actually just the community for the Joint Plan Commission. Really doesn't need approval for, but we'll do it anyway. Ken Harder and Ron Coates are going to be the new members of the Joint Plan Commission with Josh, along with Dave.
Representing the town of McMillan.
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the appointment of Ken Harder and Ron Gomes to the Joint Plan Commission.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded to approve the appointment of Ken Harder and Ron Bose to the Joint, and Dave Swenson to the Joint Plan Commission. All Dave, oops,
You didn't,
vote.
no, Dave's name not on there.
You being on there.
You're already on there. Yeah, well, you can be reappointed, I guess. Whatever, you can stay on. Anyway.
I take it both of them
Yeah.
agree to serve on there?
Oh, of course, they
'Cause I know
both
Ron-
want to,
Okay,
very much
Because I
so.
know, Ron talked about getting on.
Well, he's
ours.
off of the joint plan, I mean, off of the plan commission, but he's very excited about the joint plan, yes. So, okay, let's go.
Debbie. Aye. Dave.
Aye.
Carolyn.
Aye.
Gary.
Aye.
Kevin.
Aye.
Approve, disapprove appointment of Jason Cavadini to the Town Plan Commission. Jason is the remaining person to be on, and he is with the Ag Station, one of the administrators of at the university, the Ag Farm.
Move to approve Jason Cavadini to the town plan commission.
Is there a second? Okay,
Second.
motion has been made and seconded to approve Jason Cavadini to the Town Plan Commission. Let's vote.
Yes. Aye. Dave.
Oh, discussion?
Is this gentleman a resident of the town?
Yes.
Okay, because I think our ordinances state
They have to be residents.
Yeah, he lives in Mickle's old house, or not an old house, but
On
he
Galvin,
sold,
Oh, down there?
no, not Galvin, Drake.
Weber. Weber's the place.
So,
Retract my question.
Well, yeah,
No,
I
it's
was
fine,
gonna
no,
ask it too, because
yeah, it's
the
fine, yeah,
name didn't ring a bell with me,
Yeah.
not that I know all the rest of it.
okay, let's vote.
Debbie,
Hi, Dave,
Aye.
Carolyn,
Aye.
Gary,
I,
Kevin.
Aye.
Discussion and decision on upcoming road projects. Are you gonna wanna put something out for bid?
Yeah, we're talking about 200 feet of Marsh Lane, a portion of Sugar Bush on the north entrance.
You have to get prices or bids for all of this?
That's what he's getting
That's what I'm
approval for.
Okay.
We'd like to talk about a skin coat on Elm from Stad to E. That is already cracked, they gotta pull the crack sealing out of there, it'd be similar to the project that we did on Galvin. Eventually, for the fall, we need to dig out on both sides of the bridge over on McMillan, east of T, 100 foot on the east side, 150 on the west, but that, we are not gonna bid that. But that's something to keep on the radar. We have $199,693 for general transportation aids, $50,163 in shared revenue, and we transferred $39,078 at the end of the year. And that total is $225,987. The $26,000 we didn't get back from Man, did we yet, Patty?
Nope.
So that's going in there too, so. I'm asking for permission to put those out to see what we can get for numbers to put together for projects.
You need a motion for that?
Mm-hmm.
I'll make a motion to put the project bids as listed.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, the motion has been made to put out the road projects for bids, and been seconded. Is there any discussion?
Did you get any prices for the striping on Galvin?
Good point. Add that to the motion.
Yes. How many times I tell you to do that?
How many times have I basically said
I
you're
didn't have
gonna
it
get
down.
Jeez
And the
Louise.
striping.
And the striping, yes, okay.
gonna have to get some white stripes and put them on each side of his pickup.
And you got
So you remember.
something.
Either that or put it on his forehead.
Okay,
No,
okay. All right.
If you want to read that motion back.
You
No?
gotta give me your list before you
Okay.
read that motion.
And don't forget the striping.
I got that.
Okay.
All I have is 200 feet of marsh, a portion of Sugar Bush, King Coat Elm from Stock to E, and striping on Elm.
That's pretty
That's
good.
it.
That's
Oh,
very
well, there you
good,
go.
okay.
Okay, we're good.
Debbie,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Carolyn,
Aye.
Gary,
I,
Kevin.
Aye.
Okay. Motion to adjourn.
I will take that motion.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion is made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
I bring the sledgehammer for the